You're on.
Okay, so there's going to be a few different places we're going to address. So, you know, I love this for the person that comes to class. You know, because that has to do with deep hip flexors, could be the low back, could be the hamstrings, could be the glutes. So we're going to address at least 3 of those. So the postures that we're going to do, we're going to use the tennis ball and address each of those muscles. So I'm going to bring the tennis ball right into my glute right here, kind of like the dent of my glute. So my sacrum's right there. The tennis ball goes right there, and then I roll to the side until I find that spot. And if I get it right, I can actually feel the line of the piriformis from the greater trochanter, the outside of my femur bone, to the sacrum. And then once I'm on, that's exciting. So you spend some time here, you spend some breaths and take your time and kind of work. And maybe you even explore around, go on a little exploration in that general area. These are the abductors, right? So that's one. And so I'm just doing the crib notes version because you could spend some more time on that, right? So you might spend 3, 4, 5 minutes, really work the breath, okay? The next one is quadratus lumborum, the lumbar spine muscle. So I'm going to address the muscle that is between the top ridge of my hip, the last rib, and the spine. There's a little square, therefore quadratus lumborum. So I'm going to kind of put the ball right there, and I'll roll to the side, and get it right on that spot. And then it gets interesting. Then I draw the knee up to the chest. So for some people, that's already enough. Okay, and then the bonus feature is to roll to the side. So that just pushed the tennis ball right in at an angle, right in towards the spine. So I'm right in that quadratus muscle now. Again, this could be a great tool for a low back student, a new back student, obviously. Yeah, got that? Mm-hmm. So you could spend some time. I want to spend some time, but I'm going to move on. That's a rich muscle. That's also called the hip hiker muscle. We're talking about, you know, some people that say, oh, I have a hip that's, or a leg that's longer than the other or shorter than the other, but it's typically that muscle right there. Okay, so you notice we just did the glute, just did the quadratus of the lumbar spine, and now we're going to do iliacus, so part of the iliopsoas. The iliopsoas, that really deep hip flexor muscle that runs through the spine, from the spine down through the pelvis into the inner thigh. But we can get at it a little bit. So here's the ASIS bone, the pointy bone on the front of my hip, right there. So I'm just going to roll the tennis ball just in a little bit, inside to the fleshy area inside there, okay? And then I'll come onto my belly. And that's not bad. So that's the next part. So some people, this will be exciting enough, so we just kind of add layers of variation. So the next thing I'll do is I'll bend that knee. Yepers. And, you know, I could do a little cat tilt. So I could move the sits bones towards the floor, cat tilt, not a dog tilt, but a cat tilt. And then finally I could take my opposite hand. This is my left hand. The ball is underneath my right front hip right now. I can take my left hand to the floor and I can press that hand into the floor. I'm rolling into the ball. And I'm going to get access into the iliacus. The iliopsoas is really that muscle that really travels right over the front of the hip. So people with tight hips, etc., we're right on some of the muscles that often hold them back. And this one feels weird. It's one of those where it's like, oh my gosh, it's in my testes or my ovaries or my, I don't know, stuff that's down there. And it's not. It's just there's a web of connective tissue through that whole area that obviously is going to be affected by doing this kind of deep work in the pelvis, okay? And it's kind of fun, like if somebody gets done afterwards, you might have them do a couple little movements and just, or some comparable to squat or something, and just feel how different that is.
Feel good, Sarah.